Hello and welcome to the conversation. I'm Ishan, and today we are talking about the grand old party of Indian politics, the Congress Party. And in 2014, for this Lok Sabha elections, the Congress Party seems a little bit reluctant. Why is that so? Well, you check out for yourselves.
5 years ago, this place was besieged by congressmen seeking the party's ticket to contest the general elections. Today, there's a virtual lull in the party headquarters, and that is indication enough of what lies in store for the oldest political party in the world's largest democracy.
I want to reiterate the entire Congress leadership is battle ready and they are enthusiastic about going into these polls with the sole purpose of winning and giving this country a government based on which is not only youthful but which will carry a positive agenda, idea of India forward.
Almost half of the 200-odd elected members of parliament from the Congress have sensed the public mood. They understand that winning isn't going to be easy this time around and had conveyed the same feeling to the party high command. But in most cases, party bosses have refused to listen to them.
What I have heard is that Priyanka and Rahul Gandhi had a meeting and they thought that a very wrong message was going. The reports coming in on a daily basis that senior leaders were not willing to contest. So they then took a decision that no, leaders must contest the elections.
No wonder just before the elections, the Congress is facing a high attrition rate. Among those leaving the party, some are looking for safer seats, while others are changing political loyalties at the 11th hour. So has the Congress already reconciled to its role as that of a principal opposition party, with a lot lesser presence in the lower house than the party could ever imagine?
So, what do you think about the Indian reluctant Congress as we are talking about it right now? Well, you can log on to indiapostlive.com. That's our website. You can post your video comments over there. You can come in on Skype and join the conversation. Also, any tweets that you have about the same, well, just use the hashtag IndiaPostLive. In the studio, we have with us today Mr. Vibhuti Narayan Rai. He's a writer and commentator, and he wrote the seminal book Sheher Mein Curfew, and a former IPS officer, and also Venkatesh Ramakrishnan. He's a senior journalist. Thank you very much for coming into the conversation. Mr. Rai, I'll start with you. As far as the Congress party is concerned, 10 years in power with the UPA government, too much complacency, too much anti-incumbency. They don't have enough for a fight this time around. What do you think?
Yeah, you are right. I think this is one of the most difficult times for the Congress, and you must be observing last many elections. This is the first time when you find a large number of sitting MPs not willing to fight, and Congress High Command forcing many of them to go to the battlefield. So I personally feel that two successive UPAs, their performance, the corruption charges, the infighting, these all have taken toll on it. And the worst part, the worst thing for the Congress, such a huge organization, all India presence, is that there is only one leader left who is campaigning all length and width of the country, and nobody is there to support him. And unfortunately, he has not been the leader of the party for last 10 years. He has never been the prime minister. So people have never judged him. Somehow, personally, I feel that this is the worst phase of the history of the Congress party.
All right, worst phase. Would you also concur with that, Venkatesh, or do you think there's more to that? Reluctant Rahul Gandhi made the Congress reluctant.
100%. Congress is going through nothing short of a catastrophe. And I think the election results would really establish that, what is the level of the catastrophe that the party is going through. And as Rai Saab very correctly pointed out, the primary problem with the Congress is the problem of leadership crisis. It's not just about having one individual. It's about having no creative leadership. See, if you look at the Congress trajectory from 1999 to 2004, then 2004 to 2009, the trajectory of the Congress leadership was essentially positive and creative. Right. There was a lot of connect to the people, a lot of things that the Congress was able to do for the people. I have the view that the past 5 years, the Congress leadership has completely, given up that the advantage that they had and wasted it away.
How much would you blame the Congress leadership, particularly Rahul Gandhi? Because many would say that when the leader was so reluctant to take part, then how can you expect the others in the party to take the initiative?
Personally, I feel that it is a confused leadership. They want to show that they are different. But because of their history, because of their behavioral pattern, they behave like any other mainstream political party. For example, you take the issue of corruption. The leader speaks something, but you can say the state satraps, they may behave other way. Maharashtra is a very interesting example. They have given tickets to leaders who have been tainted, who have been indicted in various commissions, while their leader was fighting for passage of many, say, revolutionary enactments in the parliament, and many laws were created only because of him. But when the time for distribution of tickets came, the behavior of a mainstream political party took over. So personally, I feel that it is a confused leadership. He appreciates AAP, he appreciates the political parties which are not mainstream political parties. He tries to behave like them. But unfortunately, the size, the political, the demands of the electoral politics, somehow they make him behave like any other political, or they make him behave like Congress has been behaving in the past.
All right, interesting point that he makes over there as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned. But Venkatesh, many in the Congress would concur with the fact that there was no standard set. Rahul Gandhi would wake up one morning, say something else, say something, and the next day there would be basically no follow-up. So that policy directive, that clear line from the top, the high command culture that the Congress is so and used so very well, that somehow now seems to be lost.
Yeah, throughout his political career, in Congress, Rahul Gandhi has been talking about promoting internal democracy, creating elections, having a clear system and all that. And then when the government comes up with an ordinance which was well thought out, which was decided in the cabinet, and then he comes to the press club one day and then suddenly says, that it's not acceptable, and the whole government goes topsy-turvy. And how does it what is the kind of score that you have on internal democracy when you do something like that?
The interesting point you make over there. And as far as Sonia Gandhi is concerned, now for 10 years she was the icon for the party. Nobody would go against her. But with Rahul Gandhi, it's a lot of rebellion seems to be brewing within. There have been so many people who've been jumping ship, going over to the BJP. The BJP, of course, has its own problems with so many congressmen coming in. But with the Congress, it's a fight for survival, isn't it, at this stage?
No, absolutely. The point is the Congress, the rank and file, and also the leaders who are jumping the ship, they all realize that Congress is on the back foot, that its support is really waning, and that there is nothing to look forward to. And I'm of the opinion that Rahul Gandhi's own reluctance, the blow hot, blow cold style of leadership and functioning that he has presented, that has contributed in a very big way to create the situation.
Well, Mr. Vibhuti Narayan Rai, you tell me, as far as the politics, the kind of politics in this country that has dominated that dominated the normal discourse, that seems to have undergone a complete change. The Congress, is it unwilling to adapt with a leader who wants the party to change, or do you blame the leader for not being clear? I mean, you said that the leader is confused, but at the end of the day, the party also has to perhaps change from within.
These elections are going to be very interesting in many ways. First is that you must be observing that every leader is getting big crowds. Modi is getting huge crowds. Congress leaders are getting, Rahul is getting big crowds. Sonia is getting big crowd. Even provincial leaders are getting big crowds. Means that people are more interested in voting this time. So there will be larger percentage of voting you can see. But and then issues are very big. Modi coming itself is a big issue, where Congress has a good opportunity, where it could have gone and won the support of minorities, Adivasis, Dalits, people who are sitting on the fringe, people who are interested in saving the democratic values, the secular ethos of the country. But unfortunately, you find that Congress has accepted its defeat, say, a year earlier. Before entering in the election battle, they have already accepted their defeat, and result you find that other political leaders are they are campaigning, they are participating, but their participation is only half-hearted. Congress is a party, you see the history, that they always require one symbol. There is one Mrs. Indira Gandhi who can win you 2-3 elections. Jawaharlal Nehru can win 2-3 elections. If there is no strong vote catcher, then Congress is a very disorganized house. They always require a symbol which can attract voters and which can make their fight easier. But somehow this is not happening this time. So naturally the rank and file of the Congress is demoralized and disorganized. Most of them have accepted defeat. Some have gone and got themselves admitted in the hospitals. Some have refused to participate. This is first time that there is no stampede outside the Congress
yes,
offices.
as the story was suggesting.
And nobody is coming to ask. There have been stories earlier that Congress tickets are being sold. People are, touts are demanding money. This time this is happening with BJP. You will find these allegations in the BJP camp, and nobody is alleging that Congress tickets have been bought or sold.
All right, so why don't you come in and participate in this conversation, you the viewer? Of course, IndiaPostLive.com is our website. Go over there, post your comments, post what you think. If you want to come join in us the conversation on Skype. Also, tweet to us, use the hashtag IndiaPostLive, and say what you have to about the Indian Reluctant Congress, as we are calling it. Venkatesh, but many would suggest also that this lack of leadership, or perhaps the lack of charisma in a leader, was the Congress's malaise before it came to power. Before UPA, Sonia Gandhi wasn't viewed as that stronger leader. So at the end of the day, she managed to still, and at that point of time, everybody thought that the NDA would come to power, hands down, no questions about it. But there was an undercurrent of change that nobody noticed. Perhaps this time around, an undercurrent is there, and we're not being able to capture that because of perhaps the media's obsession with the Kejriwals and the Modis and that rhetoric?
I don't think so. I think that there is an overcurrent of feeling against the Congress. Whatever be the undercurrent. I mean, you may think that the Modi hype is all hype. That it's being blown out of proportion. That Kejriwal is getting much more mileage than that is due for him. But having said all that, one has to understand that Congress is certainly on the downslide. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There are a couple of states where the Congress may still be able to hold on, like Kerala and Karnataka. But apart from that, across the country, there is a strong anti-Congress feeling which has been built up by a variety of factors. I mean, starting with the corruption in the UPA, in the various ministries, and issues like price rise, the way the coal scam has come up. So many issues, all these issues have worked against the Congress. And in the middle of all this, Congress is trying to somehow present the picture of a welfare-oriented party, trying to advance its social empowerment schemes and all that. But all that is not working.
All right, and the senior leaders also, for example, Captain Amrinder Singh had to really be pushed into that contest in against Arun Jaitley in Amritsar, and many are suggesting, behind, not on the record obviously, but many senior leaders, that if Rahul Gandhi had been talking to them, had been in conversation with them for the past 10 years, then things perhaps would have been different. This time around, we suddenly can't just ask people to get up and go when they do not feel that connect with the party leadership, Mr. Rai?
Yeah, you are very right. In fact, the inaccessibility of the top leadership of Congress is one of the very important reasons. I have also spoken to many of my friends in the Congress, and I have found that they are unable to communicate with the leaders who decide, who take decisions, and everybody knows that very few leaders are there who take decisions. So, unless you have a live contact with your with the ground realities, with the workers on the ground, with your leaders in the political, in the states and districts, you may not be able to get the feel of the ground. And that's what I personally feel is happening in Congress. This is unfortunate because Congress losing or Congress coming to a reduced stature, that may not be very healthy for the Indian democracy, but it is happening in front of us.
Absolutely, it is. In fact, let's get in a viewer comment. Snow Leopard has tweeted in that Congress has always been a divisive party and they play on vote bank politics. I would just rephrase that question a bit, Venkatesh. The fact of the Congress being caught up in politics of a different time, a different era, the new age politics of a Narendra Modi, of an Arvind Kejriwal, they just could not understand how to deal with it. Is that the case?
That's also one of the factors, but that is not the primary factor. That is certainly contributed to the kind of downslide that the Congress is going through. But if you look at the fundamental factors, I would say it's corruption and price rise. And coupled with that, the crisis of leadership and these all what you're talking about, all these things are actually manifestations of the crisis of leadership. If you do not understand the milieu, if you do not understand what's happening at a particular point of time, if you don't know how to communicate to people, these are all issues which ultimately contribute to the crisis of leadership and kind of escalates it.
Absolutely. In fact, Mr. Rai, as far as what Venkatesh was saying, just taking forward from there, the lack of communication on a regular basis, UPA 1 had a lot of meetings that would take place. You had the NAC and that they were setting the agenda. The CWCs would take place regularly. With UPA 2, with Sonia Gandhi taking a back seat, she wanted Rahul Gandhi to come to the fore. He didn't, and in that they completely lost the plot over the past 5 years.
No, he is very correct. I think these are the two important reasons, corruption and the price rise. And price rise, personally, I feel is because of corruption. And the worst thing was that when things were going out of hand, you were totally out of communication. For example, you see CWG happened, others happened, coal scam happened. Every time you will say that, no, this leader is not at fault, and you will not take any action against him. But when the press fires, when courts howl, when public opinion becomes totally, it goes totally against you, then you have to fire the minister, you have to remove him from his post. So it means that you are not communicating with your workers on the ground. Otherwise, they could have given you the proper feedback and you could have got the pulse of the people. So somehow this UPA 2 has been a disastrous, it has been a disaster so far as the leadership is concerned, Congress leadership is concerned.
And the Venkatesh, the damage could be more long term because now you have the cadre, the workers getting co-opted by the Aam Aadmi Party, by the BJP. Many of the top leaders are switching ranks, but even at the ground level, the workers are quite unhappy and they've been switching sides. And that means that in the longer term, with every subsequent election, this is the malaise that could affect the Congress party.
I think so. I think you got a point. What we are seeing now is a kind of decimation that the Congress has never experienced in its life. See, 1977, after the emergency, Congress lost. And Congress lost badly. But even at that point of time, everybody knew that here the Congress can hope for a revival because there is a kind of leadership that is there which can reinvent itself. Right now, as political observers, we are not able to see that. There is no sign that there is a possibility of reinvention. See, Rahul Gandhi keeps talking about all these big things, very idealistic things. But then, it doesn't get implemented in the party at any level. And his own political actions don't, corroborate what he's saying. So, in that kind of a situation, and the problem with Congress rank and file and the middle level leadership is that out of power, that party is kind of a cripple.
It happened in Bihar and UP. Once Congress lost UP in 1989, or it lost Bihar at that time, it could never regain it. But only one thing I personally feel that Congress has never been a cadre-based party. It has almost been a mass-based party. So some issue may arise, some situation may arise where they may again get a chance to come back.
All right, so you won't write them off at this stage.
Yeah, personally I feel that because the alternative which is coming, may give Congress another chance to come back.
All right, but the other difference perhaps in the politics of today is the Aam Aadmi Party factor, and the fact that the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party have pretty similar politics. I mean, they're both slightly left of center. The Congress and the BJP are starkly apart, but the Aam Aadmi Party is completely co-opting the Congress's stand, and therefore the party's identity itself is now under threat.
I think that's a little too far-fetched, because if you look at the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party, if you make a comparison, the fundamental difference between Congress and Aam Aadmi Party is that the Congress has, by and large, right from its beginning, it has talked about the mixed economy, and it has always been a party of the Indian elite, and if you can extend it, the Indian corporate system. I mean, there have been elements in the Congress which have systematically engaged with the Indian corporate system and refused to take them on, facilitated their actions, or even, one may even put it, facilitated their plundering. Though there's been a left of center stream in the Congress represented by people like Mani Shankar Aiyar, represented now by people like Mani Shankar Aiyar and Vaila Ravi, if you look at the power balance in the party, it's very clear that they are nowhere. So I don't think that
so it might be left of center in rhetoric, not in action.
Yeah, I don't think, and I don't think the comparison is right.
But as far as the Aam Aadmi Party completely co-opting the Congress, is
But
that
Congress has got an all India presence. That you must remember. Aam Aadmi Party, personally, I feel is Delhi centric.
Yes, but they've completely routed the Congress in Delhi, and many are saying that the Congress will have.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be a situation similar to Bihar and UP.
I think, and I will have to agree to disagree with Rai Saab, because I am somebody who travels across the country as a political journalist, and my experience is that after the Congress, perhaps the only party which has got an all India presence at the fastest. Even the BJP did not get an all India presence in its early years. It was considered to be a Hindi heartland party essentially, with some pockets. But then you go to any part of the country, right from the northeast to the south, or from Gujarat to Punjab, I am seeing there is a presence. I mean, it's not a very significant presence, but then only once before have I seen, I mean, after the Congress. In 1989, when the Mandal Commission recommendations were announced, I found that there was a reverberance of that idea across India. In fact, I still remember I was traveling in a train from Punjab to Calcutta, and across the way, in all the states, I found this presence of this idea. And similarly, I am seeing the presence of the idea, maybe not strong, maybe not very forcefully, but the presence of the idea I am seeing everywhere. I think it's a very, very important milestone in Indian politics.
All right, let's get in a few viewer comments. Ritvik Narayanan writes in that the Indian National Congress is becoming one of the regional parties of India. Well, that might be a little too soon to say, but how does one save the Congress party from here? What advice would you give Rahul Gandhi at this stage?
I would say be sure, be determined, and do what you say.
Mr. Rai?
Yeah, I think that next 5 years they should play the role of a active, positive, and more people-friendly opposition.
All right, but it's still 2 months to go for the election, so you also agree with them that they've thrown their hat in, so
it's this time they have accepted, everybody has accepted that they will have to sit in the opposition. Maybe they may again try some third front sort of experiment, and for a few months they can create some situation where a government functions of third front government function in Delhi. But personally I feel that it will be better for them that they sit in the opposition for 5 years, they fight, they remain active, they remain
Fight in Congress.
fight against the rulers of the day.
But is there no recourse right now? They recover from
No, see, it is all very easy to say, but there is something called the Congress organization system and what's famously called the Congress culture. So I don't see the average Congressee getting out of it.
All right, the Congress culture might be very difficult to get out of. Any last words, gentlemen, as far as the Congress party? We've spoken about advice, and you're saying that 5 is in the opposition, no kind of silver lining in the clouds that are covering the Congress party right now?
No, one couldn't say, see, if you get your political act together, you can get your political act together, and the kind of leadership that Congress has is it's kind of unidirectional, so if you make a command, but then you need to get your act together. Like Sonia Gandhi got her act together in 2004, when she fought the elections, she has reasons to be inimical with the DMK leadership. But in spite of that, she made alliance with the DMK. It was a great political movement for the Congress after the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. If she could go over to the DMK and make an alliance, because she understood that there was a problem with the BJP's growth, and that she took that very concrete and decisive action. Similarly, her alliance with Ramvilas Paswan's party at that point of time. These were all decisive actions that she took. So I think Congress can come back to that kind of a system, but at the moment there are no signs.
All right, and as far as the reluctance finally of they've brought in all the stalwarts out, and perhaps this could be a big stable cleaning for the Congress party, if I may say so, because every leader who was of any consequence is perhaps fighting this election, all those who were the leadership of the Congress. So do you think they can give a tough fight to their political adversaries, or is it all over?
This election, I think it is over for Congress.
All right.
But again, I will repeat that they should remember 2.5 years of Janata Party. And though this, the coming enemy may be not a disorganized house like Janata Party, but still, if they fight for 5 years, I think there is chance for them.
As long as perhaps the hunger is there, then that can happen. We'll also quickly remind our viewers that tomorrow is, of course, April Fool's Day. So what do you think about April Fool's Day? And who would you like to play a April Fool prank on? Who will you make a fool of on April Fool's Day tomorrow? Friends, family, any politician, or the entire government? And we already spoke to a few people on the street, so let's listen into what they had to say.
सरकार ने तो अप्रैल फूल पहले ही बना दिया, आम आदमी पार्टी ने तो अब उससे ज़्यादा अप्रैल फूल कुछ नहीं बन सकता।
नेता लोग और कौन करेंगे, दूसरा कौन कर सकते हैं?
कांग्रेस सरकार तो बहुत ज़्यादा भ्रष्टाचार फैला रही है, पब्लिक को क्या पूरे हिंदुस्तान में बेवकूफ़ बना रही है।
सबसे ज़्यादा नेता ही बेवकूफ़ बना रहे हैं हमारा।
फ्रेंड्स फैमिली कैन मेक फूल बनाएगा यार अप्रैल फूल को। ऑप्शन है
ऑब्वियसली गवर्नमेंट ही हमारा सबसे ज़्यादा फूल बनाते हैं अप्रैल फूल।
This April Fool's Day, I think Rahul Gandhi is going to make a fool out of me by holding a press conference saying he would rather marry than fight the elections, because Narendra Modi is going to come with a thumping majority, I think.
All right, so April Fool's Day certainly promises to be a political one this time around, as people on the streets had to say, Venkatesh. But of course, do write in your comments and tell us what you would be doing tomorrow. And if you want, you can share your videos, you can share your photographs, you can share your ideas. Come log on to IndiaPostLive.com or the hashtag IndiaPostLive if you want to tweet about it. But the mood of the country certainly is anti-Congress, as our little package there had to say, isn't it?
There's no doubt about that. As I was telling you, there is this overcurrent.
Not an undercurrent, but an overcurrent. On that note, gentlemen, I'd like to thank you very much for coming into the conversation. It was a pleasure having you over here. Thanks so much. Well, you can, of course, join in the conversation. As I said, IndiaPostLive.com is the website, and hashtag IndiaPostLive for your tweets. Thanks so much. See you again.